Now, more on the stunning news of a major opening to Cuba. After more than 5 decades of diplomatic chill, if not outright hostility, the U.S. will normalize relations with Cuba's Castro regime. The longstanding trade embargo remains in place, at least for now. Changing that takes an act of Congress, something the president's political foes on the Hill were quick to say they would strongly oppose. Now, both countries have already eased travel, trade, and money transfer restrictions, and more relaxation is now in the cards. So what will today's changes mean for both economies and for American businesses? Michelle Caruso-Cabrera has more.
The U.S. will establish diplomatic relations with Cuba for the first time since the 60s and will reestablish an embassy in Havana. And while today's announcement doesn't end the travel ban completely, the White House says travel licenses will be much easier to obtain for family visits and educational and religious activities. U.S. businesses will be able to open certain kinds of financial accounts at Cuba's government banks in order to make it easier to process authorized types of transactions. U.S. credit cards and debit cards will be permitted for the first time for U.S. travelers going to Cuba. The U.S. will also allow the export of telecommunications equipment that's designed to increase the availability of the internet in Cuba. And the stocks of cruise companies and airlines rallied on the announcement on the anticipation that there will be increased tourism to the country. But many investors told us today they don't think these steps alone are enough to convince them to invest directly in the island due to the lack of rule of law and fear that the Cuban government, which still controls more than 80% of the country's economy, would not provide strong enough governance to ensure them that their investment is safe. Nightly Business Report, Michelle Caruso-Cabrera.